Hello, everyone. I hope traders and investors alike were green today. Another very interesting day in the markets. We had the rate decision, 0.25, just as expected. Had the press conference with Powell. The market looked like it wanted to try to pull back a little bit. Looked like it was struggling in a pullback, and then Powell come out and basically said that he didn't see interest rates back to 2% until 2025, which kind of spooked the market, and we took a big pull. We pulled back, but overall traded in a pretty tight range today. And honestly, we talked about it in the Discord this morning about how the last FOMC meeting just felt different and how we have not been acting. The market's not been overreacting on the data points anymore. So it's really gotten to the point where it just doesn't seem like it cares about Powell. It just doesn't seem like it cares about interest rates. It doesn't care about any of that. The data points, the market is just full blown FOMO right now. Now, will that change tomorrow? That very well could. Getting a little extended up here, but the market can definitely go higher. So let's go through the charts, see what we see. We'll talk about what earnings and stuff come in as we get to the charts. So you can see SPX here on the weekly, the S&P 500, really strong push up here the last 2 weeks. We didn't even get the inside weekly bar that we were kind of expecting last week, and we were expecting a pullback. We did pull back a little bit, but overall we closed higher, on the week. So the market is just not giving any dips, and they say there's still like $3 trillion on the sidelines looking to come in, and this is why we're not being pulled back that far, because we're just not getting the biggest pullbacks, which is fine. That's just, it can feel like for some traders, it can feel like you're chasing up here. For a momentum trader, it's really not that bad. Like this was a fresh, you can get ascending triangle or a small cup and handle breakout and heading higher. So, and you can see, and this is our breadth chart, but you can see the 9 right here on the S&P 500. We're not that far extended at all. So we can see breadth today, a decent push up, trying to get some life back into the breadth chart, but our moving average has still been moving lower. I would like to see a turn on that. And it's very helpful. So one thing that we like to watch is the strength in candles, and I tell my group to watch to see how the moving averages are moved by the strength of the candles, and it kind of gives you an idea right here when you see a strong move up, but you don't see that moving average turn up. Kind of makes you wonder how strong was that move really. USD, the dollar, we were on right into, so we had this nice push up, but we were on right into the 20 daily. Got a spinning top there. VIX, I mean, look at this VIX chart. It almost looks like a kind of very head and shoulders pattern on the bottom of the chart. We know it's supposed to be on the top of the chart. But if you don't see it like that, you still got your lower high here, and the VIX looks like it wants to go lower. And that chart is screaming there's no fear in this market. Even we know it's a broken instrument, but it's still telling us, there's got to be something in there that's still useful. And it is screaming no fear in this market. Crude, we were able to clear this 200-day. We tested it here, snatched back to the 9. It just needed to pull back, catch up with a 9. Just same breakouts we watch all day, every day on your intraday charts. Same setup, clearing a 200, clearing a level of interest. When you clear a level of interest, in this case was your 200, you can get a price pop, or you'll see price acceleration. Anytime you're testing a level of interest, when that level gets cleared, that's when you're expecting your price acceleration. You see Apple here, Apple trying to break that little flag on a daily 9, trying to push higher. That's one to keep an eye on. Apple intraday chart, choppy, and you can see the Powell move as well there. Gold trying to take back that daily 9. Advanced decline lines turned up. AMC was in this downtrend, was able to gap up out of this downtrend, looking a little rough here, seeing some rejection at that 200. Looks like it needs to at least come back down and flag on that day at daily 9. That's why we take the profits on the pops, and then we look to get back in when they pull back. All right, AMD, strong push here today, but you can see it was given back at Powell. So we had a nice push up during the Powell conference and the press conference, and definitely pulled back on his comments about 2025. You can see Amazon, we lost our major moving averages. There are 50s down here, but we lost a 9 and 20 this week, moving lower. We did come into a previous level of support, and that 50-day is down there as well. ARK, nice candle today. If it's going to go up here, it's got to clear that daily 9. If it's going to go down, it's got to clear that daily 20. It's that simple. You don't have room to move. AMD is under the You can see under the 9, the 20, and the 50 here, kind of bear flagging. Looks like it wants to move lower as well. AMD weekly, you can see we're kind of rounding. You can see the weekly 9 rolling over, starting to see the price kind of roll over there. Not a good look. It does look like it needs to come in. It doesn't mean the stock need to put in an all-new low neither. I mean, please don't get me wrong, but looking like it does want to pull back. Affirm, this is very tabletopish up here, and of course we're going to be watching the intraday moves, and we will make sure it's safe to go short, and we want to see the market actually pull back instead of just guessing that we're going to crash or anything like that. This market is full blown FOMO and remaining bullish until I get real signs not to be, and remaining open-minded, not really bullish or bearish, just open-minding every day. You can see here on Amazon, we went up here and you got this lower high and was able to pull back a little bit, and that's the press conference move. Not Amazon's greatest day, to be honest. Amazon holding that weekly 9 so far. Apple got this little weekly flag break there. Apple, that chart does look good. Looks like it wants to go higher. You can see Boeing, this huge candle here today. I believe Boeing had earnings. Yes, Boeing did have earnings, and actually things are looking pretty decent for them. Huge move here. This had big volume on it. Not 5-10 minutes after market open, we were seeing volume almost, I believe it was 35-40% in that area, not long after market open at all. Very nice move. You can kind of see we had this cup here. We did break out. It fell right back into it. Then it formed another symmetrical triangle. Some people would try to say it's a cup and handle, but it's definitely not a cup and handle. Like I say, it's more of a symmetrical triangle there. It's just a whole nother pattern. We're breaking out of it. Chart looks great here. Big, traded on big volume today. It's 3-4 times daily average there. It's a nice move. See if we get follow through tomorrow. BTU looks like it wants to go higher. Beyond Meat, draw a trend line, clean down there, just like we had that trend line. You want to see that trend line broke. That trend line gets broke. We're looking for a move higher. Got to get beat down below the moving averages to go short. Bitcoin's weekly still looking rough. You can see the daily has been breaking down, but we have held the daily 50 for now, retesting the daily 9. Communication sector gapped up again today. We did have a low close candle, so it did pull back. XLP flagging here. Looks like it's waiting on this daily 9. Consumer staples have been extremely strong since breaking out of this double bottom. Come up here, put in this little diamond pattern, and broke out again. Consumer staples have been moving higher. Not tracking individual ones. Cost, strong push here as well, and this is a chart we've been watching. We knew when it cleared this area, and just want to point out, guys, this is why we wait for the areas to be cleared. And we talked about this, extremely in a Discord. We talk about this all the time about how we need levels to be cleared. And once this level, you can see in this area, we had to get out of that area. We even broke to the downside. Still wasn't interested in taking it because we were still in this area. We knew anything could happen. Went back up, but after clearing that area, look at the size of the run. We got to let these areas be cleared. Let our levels of interest be cleared. And once they're cleared, that's when we can, contraction. This is a perfect contraction. That was the start of your expansion phase right there, and then that's your trending phase, and that's what we're looking for. For your trending traders, that's what we're looking for. For scalpers, people like me who like to take scalps, we can take trades, and we have more opportunities. We can trade within those trading ranges as well a lot of times. DraftKings, we had this ascending triangle. We're breaking out, flagging here, putting in a little tabletop area. Member called this out this morning. So it's got this is actually a breakaway gap that's kind of putting in an island top. Now we have to gap down before this is an island top, but this can definitely give us a move down. If we don't break higher soon, we're going to end up coming back down. Doesn't mean it's got to come down and put a new low, but price will be pulling back if we can't break that soon. DDOG, so you can see this little area here with matching highs breaking back down. So we did gap down below this area and push lower today, but it was push back up and close back within this area. Keep an eye on that chart. You can actually draw a box around that, and I talk about this all the time. There's so many setups you can just draw a box around and wait for the breakout of that box, and this is one of them. You can see draw your box right across there, draw your box right across here, stay to your lowest candle body, and you're looking for a confirmation which means you need a candle to close outside of that box. Doesn't matter the direction, plan A, plan B, to close outside of that box, and then you need a candle to open up and move outside or move below the closing candle that closes out of the box. Lilly, trying to hold that 50-day there. Google, gap up today on earnings. Great earnings there, but we did have a low close candle. Google had good earnings. Home Depot, this one's been raging right into a previous level of resistance here. So see, Home Depot is worth keeping an eye on here. We're getting a little extended from the weekly 9. We're not looking at the daily chart, but we are a little extended here from the weekly 9. I don't know how bad it is on the daily, but a nice move so far this week. But we are coming in up into a level of resistance. So plan A, plan B right here. We can definitely take that out and go higher. Of course it can. Or we could see a small rejection and try to work our way back down to a short-term moving average. Plan A, plan B. Weekly chart, Home Depot is at a resistance level. And if you go back here, if you go back and look, if we can clear this area, you see how the volume profile lightens up back there. So a lot less. So when your volume profile lightens up, path to least resistance. That's just common sense, and that's telling us there's least resistance in that area. It's just common sense. It's not, that part's really not that hard. IWM, very choppy. You can see we've had some big spikes, big moves here. And today we were able to push higher. We did pull back big time, but you can see we were able to push higher on IWM. The Qs back under the 20-day there, or I'm sorry, back under the 9 using the 20 for support. The Qs intraday chart not as choppy as the last one we just looked at, but pretty choppy in here during the Powell move today. Really close. We didn't have much range. Qs on the weekly trying to flag there. Looks like it needs that weekly. So this actually looks like it needs the weekly 9 to catch up. And as we know, we're trading in a big cup on the Qs monthly chart, so we can definitely see a pullback to put in a handle. JP Morgan still really strong. One of the ones we've been keeping an eye on. We haven't been watching all the banks, but JP Morgan is one of the ones I've been keeping an eye on. Very nice move up there, getting back into the Bollinger Bands, flagging back on the 9. That one's worth keeping an eye on. Mara, this Bitcoin's worth keeping an eye on here. It could definitely pull back with Bitcoin if Bitcoin pulls back. See how Bitcoin acts. Bitcoin's underneath that contraction pattern, so it's a lot of resistance above on Bitcoin. This is still worth keeping an eye on. If it can take above this 9, I would draw just a simple trend line right through here. Very simple. Just draw a trend line, connect it right through there, and if you can break that trend line, you can look for a move higher. If you lose your moving averages here, maybe you can look for a move lower, get below that bottom wick there. And the reason why I say the wick, not just the bottom of the candle body, but the wick as well, because something was there. I know the textbook talks a lot about the candle bodies, but I'm telling you, there was something there. That candle stops. You can actually see a previous level of support or / resistance is actually support in this case. So we come back down, tested that level, and tried to push up. So I know there's something there. I've seen that candle react on it, so I just want to be below that level after we can get big moves and very comfortable, easier moves after we can get confirmation below these levels. So here's Merck. We had this head and shoulders pattern. Once again, we talked about this. We went in detail about head and shoulders trade. We went in a lot of detail today in the Discord about how they trade, doing exactly what we expect. Meta below your 9 and back above your 20 there on the daily. You can see Meta here screaming higher after hours on a good earnings report. It was very, very choppy at first. Microsoft. So we got Microsoft here trying to move below. Actually, it is below the daily 20, testing the daily 50 for support. Wanted to clear those areas. See, Microsoft's been pretty choppy. The big move down here in pre-market, that was on earnings. Microsoft weekly, right back down to that weekly 9. See how we act. Kind of looks like it may need to pull back here. See how we act off that 9. You can see that shooting star candle up there. Really looks like we need to pull back there. NVIDIA still trading in that channel. This is still worth keeping an eye on as long as we're trading within that channel that can provide trades. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA intraday, you can see the big pullback at open, and it was able to recover, and that's the Powell action right there. Was able to recover heading into Powell. NVIDIA weekly still flagging there. Nasdaq below, the Nasdaq is below the daily 9, still above the daily 20, but it is pulling back a little bit. Netflix seeing some weakness here, is trying to hold your daily 50 there for support, and this is the Qs. The monthly chart, you can see this huge cup here. It's actually pushed above the level. So would never be surprised, or definitely wouldn't be surprised if we don't just pull back a little bit here. And I'm not saying that's going to happen. I still feel like the market's bullish, but pulling back here would not be the end of the world. That's all I'm saying. I still feel like the market's bullish and does want to go higher. And a lot of that's because we're not getting decent dips. They're getting balled up. You can tell the amount of FOMO's in the market. Roblex trying to bear flag down here. Now, and I also don't mean it's going to go straight up neither, so we could pull back. Would not be surprised if we don't, maybe pull back tomorrow, push Friday. Can definitely, does not have to go straight up, which is great because that provides, multiple opportunities. Roku down here on your daily 20, daily 9s turned over, rolled over. SPX pushing higher there on the daily. SLB still looks great here. They're still hitting some of the energy names in the exploration sector. SoFi, this chart still looks decent here as well. The diamond's pushing higher. You can see the diamond on the weekly, so it had this whole bunch of funk here. Really couldn't do nothing in this area, and now we're breaking up out of it. That is nothing pretty there, but you can see we were, finally able to break up out and start pushing. So those safety names, those Dow 30 are on play if you're interested in trading the slower names. I prefer to trade the faster tech names, just more money into them. So SPY daily, SPY weekly chart looks great. I'm trying to push higher right now. SPY monthly chart looks great, taking out resistance levels up here, pushing higher where we got some wicks there. SPY, and this is the daily chart. You can see this little somewhat flag break here. It's definitely not textbook. Draw your line, take it out, look for a move higher. It's exactly what we're getting, and we've been talking about that. And this is the move on PAL. Huge move up. Come right in here and tested yesterday's high, and then got slammed back down. And that was on that comment about 2025, and tried to recover at the end of the day. Square, this is a lower high. We did close back above that 9. See how we act there? Shop trading, basically just trading sideways here. Really, just about time to take that one off. Tesla, 15-minute chart, very tight action there today. XLK below the 9, still above the 20. Looks like a lot of charts that we've seen, and you can see, we come down here, got below the 9, and bounce right back up to 20. So that can happen. So, like I say, we're not saying we won't see some rotations, but for the overall market, we're still bullish on Tesla, trying to push back up off the 9 weekly, and Tesla on a daily chart back below the 9 and 20. Just looks like it really wants to pull back there. That MACD is just starting to pull back. Keep an eye if we snatch below these candles. Look for a move down to that 50 to 241 area, and I don't want to see it pull back that far. Just saying it's possible. Uber got this tabletop there. If we can push up out of that area, look for a trade there. Walmart. So we have been watching this box for quite some time now. We finally were able to break out earlier this week. Been trying to push higher. I've been posting charts on that. XLF holding a flag here. You can see we're kind of flagging at the 9. Just really almost a contraction pattern right now. Let's see where the next couple candles. If we continue to trade within this candles is what I'm watching. So I want to break out of this candle range for a move higher. And TLT, just bonds are just ugly. IWM on the weekly chart, strong pushback up out of that foot. Strong move back up and right into a previous level of resistance. So see how we act here. Hopefully we can continue higher, but it may need to pull back. The weekly chart, the daily chart, you can see this really nice flag here, and the daily chart looks like it wants to go higher. Well, I hope everybody finds this helpful. Please remember, discipline is the key to your success in trading, and I'll see you in the trading room.